Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Russia carries out massive strike on Ukraine, targeting energy and military industrial infrastructure as NATO calls for supply of more weapons to Ukraine. And the death toll from a fierce winter storm in the United States rises to at least 61. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. An attack in eastern Syria killed 10 oil field workers. According to a report, 2 others have been wounded in a terrorist attack that targeted 3 buses transporting workers from Al-Taim oil field in Deir ez-Zor province. The director of the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that the attack began with explosive devices that went off as the buses drove by, and then the group's militants shot at them. Meanwhile, a British-based war monitor accused cells of the Daesh group of carrying out the assault near the oil field. China's President Xi Jinping told Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin today that the road to peace talks on Ukraine would not be smooth and that China would continue to uphold its objective and fair stance on the issue. Xi said Beijing and Moscow should closely coordinate and cooperate in international affairs and emphasized Russia's willingness to engage in negotiations over Ukraine. Xi and Putin have in recent years been drawn closer by a shared distrust of the United States and its allies, highlighted by a declaration in early February of a no-limit strategic partnership. Russia attacked Ukraine with 16 drones overnight, a day after Moscow fired dozens of missiles in its latest barrage against critical infrastructure. Several explosions and the sound of anti-aircraft fire were heard 20 kilometers south of Kyiv. The Ukrainian military said that all the drones had been destroyed. 7 had targeted Kyiv, where an administrative building was damaged. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry said that it had carried out a massive strike on Ukraine's energy and military industrial infrastructure using high-precision weapons. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg called on NATO member states to supply more weapons to Ukraine. The United States last week announced nearly $2 billion in additional military aid, including the Patriot air defense system, which offers protection against aircraft, cruise, and ballistic missiles. The Defense Ministry of Britain said that it will allocate $2.8 billion to Ukraine in military aid in 2023. The death toll from a fierce winter storm that gripped much of the United States over Christmas rose to at least 61. 2 more deaths had been reported in the western New York region that bore the brunt of the historic storm, bringing the total to 39. Most of the deaths occurred in the snow-battled city of Buffalo in Erie County. With temperatures rising and snow melting, officials in New York had expressed concerns about flooding. The storm also brought unreasonably cool temperatures to the states such as Texas and Florida and caused chaos at airports, with thousands of flights delayed or canceled. Still to come in our news bulletin. The world bids farewell to the Brazilian football legend Pelé with a flood of heartfelt tributes. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. In line with the requirements of Oman Vision 2040, in which all types of telecommunication have become an integral part of the social and economic dynamics Officials in the Telecommunications Regulatory Authority held several meetings with representatives from telecommunication services providers in the Sultanate of Oman in order to review and discuss updates on services currently available in the Governorate of North Batna. The meetings also focused on following up with ongoing projects in various wilayas of Governorate of North Batna in order to address any challenges and issues facing such projects. An official from TRA stated that 4G networks in North Batna have doubled over the course of 5 years, and the number of 5G networks increased to 470 networks. Engineer Umar bin Hamdan Al-Ismaili, Executive President of Telecommunications Regulatory Authority, discussed with officials from Sahar Port and Sahar Free Zone matters of cooperation to facilitate telecommunication services. South Sharqiya Municipality, represented by Awareness and Public Relation Directorate, held an honoring ceremony to award winners and participants in OMIFCO Award for Municipal Work in Jazz in the field of public health and hygiene. The award targets all community segments to engage them in promoting concepts on public health and hygiene. The number of participations reached over 100, in which 20 participations made it to the final round, including 6 participations in the family category, 7 in the school category, and another 7 in the residential area category. Oman oil price rose by 91 cents to reach $78.92 per barrel. The average price of Oman oil December 2022 delivery reached $90.79 per barrel, thus 1 cent lower than the price of November 2022 delivery. Gold prices are moving towards making annual losses for the second consecutive time as the rise of interest rates by the Federal Reserve on gold bars have led to a loss of revenue. The prices of gold in the spot market increased by 2.10% to reach $1,818 per ounce. Gold is heading towards an annual decrease by 0.6% as U.S. currency is making a headway as a safe haven amid Federal Reserve rate hikes. U.S. currency has made its best annual performance since 2015, making gold prices more expensive for holders of other foreign currencies. The sporting world expressed its sorrow at the death of one of its greatest football heroes on Friday, bidding farewell to the Brazilian legend Pelé with a flood of heartfelt tributes. Brazil's Pelé, a prolific goalkeeper who won the World Cup and in an unprecedented 3 times as a player in 1958, 1962, and 1970, died on Thursday, aged 82, after a long struggle with cancer. World Soccer's governing body, FIFA, lowered all its flags at its headquarters in Zurich as a symbol of mourning and respect, while the Premier League, EFL, and A-League said they would pay tribute to the soccer great through a minute's applause before games. The Premier League and EFL added that players will wear black armbands during this weekend's matches, while Spain's La Liga said it would observe a minute's silence ahead of games. Several footballers took to social media to pay tribute to Pelé, with Liverpool's Mohamed Salah sharing a picture of the icon on Instagram, writing in the caption, "Farewell to a legend of football." Real Madrid and Croatia midfielder Luka Modric said Pelé was one of the greatest of all time, while Moroccan defender Achraf Hakimi posted a black and white photo of a young Pelé smiling, writing on Twitter, "Your legacy will be eternal." The Australian Professional League said all A-League games this weekend will hold a minute's applause before kickoff to pay tribute to the legend. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Russia carries out massive strike on Ukraine, targeting energy and military industrial infrastructure as NATO calls for supply of more weapons to Ukraine. And the death toll from a fierce winter storm in the United States rises to at least 61. With that, we come to the end of tonight's bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night and have an incredible New Year's weekend.